the Healing Through Love podcast with Charlene Lynch and Rose Davidson. Santa Molina Marshall shares with us how we can triumph over trauma in episode 13.
So this time in the conversation, we are stopping, we are breathing, we're bringing in whatever resource, and a resource can be anything from a crystal to a glass of water, bringing in things that help the person say, oh, I'm here and I'm well. I'm no longer in that experience, even though my body may be responding like I'm still in it. That's what's missing in a lot of traditional talk therapies, is that opportunity to have the healing experience in the moment, right? Not throughout time, in the moment. You get a hit of,
Welcome to another episode of Healing Through Love. Each week, we share ideas, experiences, and resources to increase the awareness of domestic and family violence and to empower survivors to grow and thrive. We talk with experts who share their advice, or with people who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. This is all about healing through love. And now, here are your hosts, Charlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
Hello and welcome to the Healing Through Love podcast. I'm your host, Charlene Lynch from charlenelynch.com. Healing Through Love is a social enterprise whose vision is to shift awareness on domestic and family violence within the community and to support victims and survivors. Our mission is to provide family and domestic violence survivors with a soft place to land by offering them advice and services available to them and their families. We interview experts and survivors who share their stories, their personal stories, and offer advice for those who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on the healing journey. As well as our podcast at Healing Through Love, we offer annual healing days. So they're like pamper days here in Adelaide and also Tasmania for survivors of domestic and family violence. Local businesses come together to pay it forward by providing their services and resources for the day to give our survivors a much needed day of indulgence. Think day spa. It's a spectacular occasion. Now, our guest today is Santa Molina Marshall, a clinical licensed holistic psychotherapist. What a title. And a somatic experience practitioner in the field of trauma and sexual violence. So she's been providing services to the community for the last 26 years. She does not look old enough. She has developed a holistic approach to addressing needs of survivors and trauma and encompasses addressing the body, mind, and spirit. And she is passionate about making a difference. Can I introduce to you? Hi, Santa. How are you?
hello, good to be here.
It's wonderful to be here. Now, you're on the other side of the world, Santa. Where are you from?
I am from Maryland, USA.
Fantastic. And what time of the day is it there?
It is exactly 8:15 a.m.
I love it. And we're like 12 hours later, so it's 9:30 here in Adelaide. So it's great to connect to you. And this is one thing, thanks COVID, is that we're all feeling this level of connection. We can just jump on any application and just connect. So it's beautiful to have you in our proximity here at Healing Through Love. Now, what an amazing modality that you offer. And it's a conglomerate of modalities that you offer. And you've put that together to create your own special secret sauce. So is it okay to ask, what brought you to be a healer in trauma?
My own experience, having grown up in a family where there was so much dysfunction, and then having experienced my own trauma of sexual abuse, and wanting to make a difference in my family as a little kid, right? Trying to protect the family, trying to save the alcoholic, trying to reason with the depressed mother, and realizing that, there is something we can do, not when we're children, though. But today I can.
I love it. I have to ask a personal question from me to you.
Yes.
That when I came out and became a holistic psychologist and then became very public about the fact that I'm an alcoholic and all of the strange things that I bring to this world, is that I got a lot of pushback from my family. Did you get any pushback, or was there any sticky situations in and around
No.
leading into that?
Sorry, I didn't let you finish that. No. Because I started my healing journey when I started my education, my social work education. So they saw it coming. And the book, I've written this book, and the book is where I tell all the story. And that's recent. What I found interesting is that they're like, oh, I forgot that. Oh, that happened. Oh, we understand you now. So that's what I've gotten, right? My big concern was more about becoming public in my professional field. That's where, and it wasn't pushback, it was my own fears of being judged, questioned, that kind of thing.
Yes, the internal work. I love it. So tell us a little bit more about the book. Is it a memoir, or tell us about the book?
Yes. Running Through Darkness, Memoir of a Spiritual Warrior. Here it is. It's actually my life story. But what I did was I wanted to show not just the trauma, the pain, the journey, but the ebbs and flows of healing. It takes time, right? And we have very good laps and then not so good. So I wanted to show that to give hope. And the back of the book is a question and answer section. If you want to do a book club, if you run a program and you want to use it for a support group. But what's really fun about the book is that it speaks mostly about the things I learned in my healing journey, which makes me a holistic psychotherapy, what I practiced, what worked, what didn't work.
So can you explain some of the modalities that you use in your profession?
I use psychodynamic therapy, which is your traditional talk therapy. What I found was that talk was not enough. I had a lot of information, but I couldn't implement. And so holistic psychotherapy is that journey that you just asked about. In it, I will use yoga, breathing, prayer if a person is of faith. We will chant, we will drum, we will get up and move and dance. And all of that is being done in this container that says, let's keep watching what's happening in your body. Let's keep watching your nervous system and how it gets supported and how it gets activated. Yeah, we'll talk about family issues, childhood, inner child work is something that I think it's really, really powerful when we've experienced trauma, and that play of taking on that responsibility of now nurturing and caring for that part of us, right? That was wounded, that whose development perhaps has been arrested. Yeah. So that's what a session with me looks like. We're all over the place, whatever it takes to heal. Right. And then I also make recommendations to outside practitioners.
It sounds absolutely fascinating.
Yes.
And I'm a professional belly dancer, and I can just say that just dance and movement has been such an integral part of my healing. And it really, we don't understand it until we're in the thick of it, how much of an impact just that movement can be to connect us back to our power.
Absolutely. I did a lot of movement work in my own journey with, I don't know if you know Gabrielle Roth, all about movement and different movements for different emotions. It's what this woman talks about. And just very powerful to be in your body and to give it what it needs. Your body knows what it needs.
Yes, I recently we did a healing retreat just recently, and we were crawling on the ground like primeval creatures. And then roaring like lions, and then we were rolling around the floor like puppy dogs. And you know, I'm glad that we're in a safe environment with people that we felt connected to. If I was an outsider looking in, I would have had all sorts of thoughts about that. It was very strange. Yes, and it was very cathartic. At the end of it all, we felt released and relaxed, and just another level of connection as well, and healed as well. I love it.
That's wonderful. Good for you.
Oh, we love doing all sorts of
Yes.
things here in Adelaide. That's the beautiful thing about having our practitioners, some of them local, is that we get to experience what they've got to offer. Can I ask you, working the other side of the world, how have you gone moving into an online space for healing? Has that been an easy transition for you during COVID?
It has not. It has not. Like you said earlier, the fact that we have these means and we depend on them a lot more now, it's just a new way of life. I do have an office where I can meet people live, but clients are saying, I'm not ready. And so I actually was very concerned about how will this affect the connectivity. I do touch work. I do breath work. How is this going to work? But it worked, right?
I,
Can you
I,
hold yourself? Because I'm not there to do this for you, but can you do it for yourself, right?
yes,
I've been pretty amazed. Yeah.
I've been absolutely perplexed and amazed, and have a greater, deeper understanding of how energy work works, having therapy sessions with people over the other side of the world, and my laptop's just sitting on the bed while I'm doing the process and they're guiding me through. And even when they're just energetically holding the space for you while you go through a process, like if someone had told me before COVID that this was even possible, I would have said, yeah, no. And now out the other side, it's living proof that we've got a new way of doing business. And so that's great for people who, so at one point in my journey, I was unable to leave the house. And if we had had more of what we've got now during that process, I would maybe have been able to move faster through my healing, because I wasn't able to get help because I wasn't able to get to the help, couldn't leave the house. So isn't it lovely now that we've got this opportunity to share to everybody? You know, just, you don't even need a laptop, you can just use a phone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember working at agencies where the biggest task was, how do we get the client in? How do we physically get them in? Right? That was our biggest obstacle. And today that's not an obstacle. That is not an obstacle. I have clients like you all over the world. And actually there's more connection. I find that there's more attentiveness here with you.
And it feels very one-to-one.
One-to-one, very personal, very connecting. Yeah. And they now have access to me as well in other ways that they didn't before. Because of now we are doing the work online, I say, if you need to connect, text me, leave a message, right? Send me an email, which came from there's not enough connection. These things are on Zoom. I would have never offered that before in the same way.
Yeah. Yes, like
so it actually.
yeah, like with international, we've noticed a lot more people using Voxer and WhatsApp, so other applications where they can communicate, and even Facebook Messenger, so that they can communicate, and the international call is no longer an issue. So, wow. So now you offer a membership program as well. Could you paint us a bit of a picture about what that membership program looks like?
Yes, From Trauma to Triumph is the name of the program. And it is a program for people who are on whatever area of their journey. We'll do monthly podcast. We'll do monthly talk to Santa as a group, bring in whatever questions, concerns, little techniques of how to continue our healing, step by step, how to use the somatic experience, in which I hope to talk about, model to regain a sense of regulation and self-regulation, meditations and breathing exercises. So every week there'll be a little treat. And once a month, we come together live and have discussions about different aspects of healing.
I love it. And
Yeah.
everybody's healing journey is at their own pace. And as you say, sometimes it's a step forward and a few steps back. It feels like we've done so well, yay, and then we slide back in some patterns. So yeah, having those regular touch points so that you can check in, and like a smorgasbord, if there's something more that you need to eat more of because it's online, you can access that. And, and if not, you can just, eat the things that are presented to you on a weekly and a monthly basis. I love that. That's fantastic.
Yes.
How exciting. So you've got a membership and you've got a book as well. And you also have a physical practice as well as an online practice as well.
That is correct. Yes.
Excellent. And you also run your own podcast?
I will be starting with the membership to run a podcast just for members. Starting small.
I love it. I love it. I love a podcast. It is a great way to reach lots of people and to share the story, the mission, the healings, so that we can move forward together. I always say that, when we raise our frequency, we raise the frequency of those around us. So everyone that's working with you on their healing journey and not only healing themselves, but they're healing the people around them as well. And even perhaps maybe family patterns. I mean, who knows? And even,
well, that's something. Yeah. That's something that I always say. Right. And maybe you were getting ready to say that.
No, please.
And that is that I feel like when I believe that when we do our own healing work, we're healing generations to come, but also ancestral generations that have passed. We are doing the work to change the pattern and to stop the intergenerational trauma.
Absolutely. And we need to have that level of awareness on the patterns before we can actually do anything about them, and use the techniques that you're talking about so that we can keep taking those steps forward, even when we bounce back, is to readjust and keep working forward. And you're right, it is working in two different directions. This is how time works, is we're working to heal ancestrally, and we're also healing the patterns of the future. So for those of you who've got children, or even if siblings have got children, you are helping heal their patterns so they're not having to repeat it. So it's like a pebble in the pond, and it's just going out in every
direction. That ripple. Yeah.
So true. I love
it. It's a system, right? It's a family system. And if one thing shifts, everything else has to readjust.
It's so true. It's so true. I love it.
It happens with the trauma, but it happens with the healing as well.
So out of all of the things that you deliver, do you have a soft spot for any one of the modalities that you use?
I think that I would say that it's the container. It's what I call the embodied work. It's doing all the work that I mentioned, all the talk, but in an embodied way. Let's notice how this conversation is, how your body is responding to this conversation, because that's where the trauma now resides. And I say now, sometimes we need information, we need knowledge, we need to know it's not our fault, we will get out. It takes a certain amount of tries before, if you're a survivor of domestic violence, before you get all of that, we know all of that, but the body holds all of those experiences. So my soft spot is, let's do this experience of talking, of figuring out what happened, in a way that is non-traumatic, in a way that is soothing, in a way that gives a message to your brain. It's been resolved. It feels like you've completed that neurological cycle.
It's like having a conversation with a friend. So it's like getting the story out as opposed to reliving the trauma. It's like having a beautiful, soulful conversation with your best friend. Yeah,
absolutely. And having that soulful conversation in a way that's really slow. Sometimes our friends want to know, like, tell me everything. Sometimes they don't know to say, slow down, take a deep breath. Are you in the experience again? Because telling a story and going back to the experience is not helpful. It reinforces, no, I'm still in that fight flight response, right? In that activation of survival. So this time in the conversation, we are stopping, we are breathing, we're bringing in whatever resource, and a resource can be anything from a crystal to a glass of water, bringing in things that help the person say, oh, I'm here and I'm well. I'm no longer in that experience, even though my body may be responding like I'm still in it. That's what's missing in a lot of traditional talk therapies, is that opportunity to have the healing experience in the moment, right? Not throughout time, in the moment. You get a hit of,
it's true. true.
Yes.
And our body is the keeper of all the secrets. And
All the secrets.
And even if we think intellectually that we've resolved it and moved forward, we'll have, physical experiences, physical proof basically that we haven't moved forward on one thing or another, and they manifest as, illnesses and diseases and everything else in between.
Yeah.
And that's our body knocking on the door going, hello, we're still not sorted through this. So we still need to pay attention. It makes so much sense. I know that when I have a hit or however you want to explain it, when I have a response from my body, I hand on heart say, okay, is this mine or is this someone else's? Because I know as a little bit of an empath that sometimes it's not just me. I can be filtering someone else's frequency as well. And sometimes it's not, if it is me, if I go, is this me? And I go, oh yeah, this is you. And I go, well, is this now or is this in the past? And then it allows me to see, okay, this is actually not now, this is in the past, and this is something that you need to keep doing some work on. So at least it gives me a starting point to at least start the process of asking the questions. But one of my greatest modalities is definitely asking the questions. And that's even better when you're having a professional ask you the questions. So that I just love the process that humans, we just are designed to answer questions. It's like it's in our DNA. We love it. So it definitely makes a difference. Wow. I love this. So a bit of somatic healing. So dancing and drumming and music and movement and yoga and breath work. That's like a huge group of ingredients in a beautiful recipe.
And here's the thing, not everything works for everyone. And that's why there's so much, right? It's about me assisting the individual find their own healing journey. What works for you? Because prayer may not work for you, right? Drumming may be too loud. Thumping and crawling and rolling, that's too primal for me, right? So it's offering, like you said earlier, the board that says, here's all the things you can pick from. Go try it. I wanted to comment on what you said about when you get the hit, right? Asking ourselves, I'd like to ask myself, is it me or is it they? But also, is it now? Is it from the past, the present? Is it something that's from the future? What is being triggered, right? And to know that most of the times, if you are out of the traumatic experience, it's not now. Now, you are well. Now you are safe, right? Or now you're not being hurt in this moment, and tapping into that, right? Because the body is used to recognizing all of the ways in which it's threatened, not so used to recognizing all the ways in which is well. We have to bring that in.
That's so
that
true.
Awareness.
I'm a huge advocate for self-love and
yes, absolutely.
It just shows how how others, how to treat us. And also it shows our level of self-worth and self-esteem is reflected in how we do self-care. And I know as a survivor, I wasn't doing self-care very well at all. And that was just a reflection on how I felt about myself in the process. So it is a complex challenge that we move through, and to look at the patchwork of our lives as a survivor and what we went through, and to bring a different frequency to that, to bring some higher frequencies of love and gratitude and joy to what, for many of us has been a horrific experience. I find very challenging. Now I'm at the other side. It's a different story, but going through the process, when I would listen to people who would talk, they were already healed, they're talking about their modalities, and I'd listen to them. I'm like, yeah, that's all right for you to say that. You're not nursing a black eye. You don't have your hand in a bag full of ice. So, and I get that, but if you're listening today to this, know that there is hope and there is light at the end of the tunnel, and know that everything you're going through, you have the choice, even though it doesn't feel like it, you do have the choice, and you can start by just reaching out and having the conversations as long as it's safe. Yeah. So, wow. What a beautiful journey you've been on. And now you've written a book. And is there another book in the pipeline as well?
It's somewhere in the heart, but not in the pipeline.
Well, it takes
just
a while
waiting
to settle there and before it comes out. So, it's in the heart. So
Thank
that's
you.
the first step. That's the first.
Yes.
That's fascinating. Yes. And the whole process of of putting a book together and sharing all of those journeys that you've been on. It's giving you an opportunity to consolidate all of your methodologies and really get clear for your clients about the journey that you take them on. So even if, listeners today, if you're not in a position to jump on and accept some of the beautiful giftings that Santa's offering today, you can at least reach out and have a look at her book, because she's got a special offer for us. And correct me if I'm wrong, Santa, but you're offering free books, free ebooks. Is that correct?
That's correct, but also hard copy. I want to offer hard copy and ebook. Yes.
Oh, look at that. Look, just such a generous soul.
Yes.
So now how you'll contact us for that is that you'll actually send an email to Santa. That will be in the show notes and also in the description. So it'll be headed a free copy ebook, and just reach out and she'll be more than happy to send that to you, which is such a beautiful offering, an opportunity to share and grow and move forward. And I also understand that on your website, you've got some guided meditations. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. And that is also available for anyone at any time.
That's beautiful. So jump onto the website and we'll have the link there as well. And there is one more amazing offer. Like you are like Santa.
Yes.
Bringing gifts. So Santa's
just a little early, right?
It depends when you're listening to the podcast. So Santa is bringing in her sack of goodies. She's got free membership. So it's a monthly membership, and she's offering a 6-month free membership. The offer expires the 31st of December 2022. So if you're listening after this date, sorry, but still reach out for the other freebies. And the details of how to contact her for that will also be in the show notes and also in the description. Wow, what a beautiful, generous heart you have. I can see you've been on that journey of healing, and now you're healing others, and now that generosity is just flowing through, Santa.
Well, let me just say something real quick on that. People ask me, so what's next on my healing journey as an incest survivor? And I say it's giving back. However I can, it's giving back. It's giving hope. It's keeping myself open as a channel to say, oh, yes, there is hope. We can change. We can grow. This doesn't have to continue to happen. I also want to say something about the experience of why aren't you taking action? Be gentle with yourself. If you're on your healing journey, taking action, doing the self-love, the self-care is really hard. And the reason why it's so hard is because it's not the priority. So I'm supporting the go out and do as much self-love as you can. Yeah, caring as you can. But know that the priority sometimes is just keep yourself safe. Just keep yourself safe and keep reaching out and keep finding people to talk about what's happening. Yes. The healing will come. The healing will come as you do that.
It is that connection that we need to people that have been on the journey. And that's what one of the beautiful things about the Healing Through Love podcast gives people the opportunity to connect to others who have been on a similar journey, and now showing you what is possible out the other side, and now making a difference for others and paying it forward. It really is a powerful journey. And, Santa, you're a perfect example of what is possible when you lean in and embrace the gifts, your God-given gifts, and out the other side, making a passionate difference for other people. And you're right, safety first. And self-love, self-love, I say, could be just a green cup of tea. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can just be just showing yourself that love. Yeah, I love it. Wow.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just sitting quietly for a moment, right?
It's so true. So what a lovely collection of healing modalities that you bring to the table. And it would be very hard to pick a favorite in all of those, because they all sound absolutely delicious. And I can just see you doing retreats. I think that would be amazing. Because there's so many things, and even online retreats as well as in-person retreats. I think, yes, everyone wants to hang out with Santa. It's so true. And generosity. It's been such a lovely opportunity to share with you. And it doesn't feel like it's been 30 minutes, though. It just feels like it's just Feels like we've just been talking for 10 minutes. But Santa, in closing today's show, is there anything that you'd like to share with our listeners as a final note?
Yes, don't give up on yourself. Do not give up on yourself. Know that you are resilient and that your nervous system really wants to. Your body wants you to heal. So listen to it. Notice how things impact it and give it what it needs, even if it's just a deep breath. Yeah.
I love it, Santa. That is such
golden
words of wisdom. I really love it. Thank you. And
thank you.
Those links. Oh, thank you, Santa. All of those links will be there for Santa's subscription, for her 6-month subscription, also for the free ebook, and also to reach out for that free meditation on her website. All the links will be in the show notes. And it's a goodbye from us today at Healing Through Love podcast. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Healing Through Love. You can get further resources, see the show notes, or simply reach out to us via our website at htlaustralia.org. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to your company next time on the Healing Through Love podcast.